Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for this segment of Inside Cottonwood. I'm your host, Jak Teel, the Parks and Recreation Manager here with the City of Cottonwood. And today with us, we've got one of my good friends here, Bruce Jurecki from Showtime Sportz. And we're going to be talking about kind of all things youth sports that Bruce does. He's involved in a lot of different projects and a lot of different areas here in this in our local community, whether that's here in Prescott Valley, Camp Verde, kind of all over the place. And then in our other segments, we're going to be talking with Jayne Lee from the Verde Valley Little League, and we'll be talking with Josh Frewin from the Cottonwood Parks and Recreation Department about some of the programs and things we have going on. So as we start the day, I'd like to go ahead and welcome you to the show, Bruce. Congratulations on your first time.
Hey man, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we start talking about Showtime Sportz, what is Showtime Sportz? What's your ultimate goal?
The ultimate goal is to provide a platform for everybody, adults, kids, male, female, to get out and be active, play sports. Flag football is our flagship, and we get into other things now like basketball with you guys. Thank you very much. And we think about volleyball and even cornhole tournaments down the road one day, but right now really just flag football and basketball.
That's awesome. And you do both youth and adult sports, right?
We do. Mostly it's been adult sports the last 2-3 years, and we are starting to get more into youth. And that's really where the heart of our program is, and getting the kids out and involved and keeping them active. Absolutely.
And as we talk about youth sports, you and I are currently working together on a project. You and I is in Parks and Recreation and Showtime Sportz. And we've got youth basketball coming to Cottonwood, and we're doing a little differently. Usually when we run this program, it's indoors. What are we doing with Showtime Sportz right now?
Man, we're taking it back to my New York roots, where my family's from, like Rutgers Park. So we're going outdoors in the Old Town courts. I'm really excited about this. I think it's something different. The biggest, bump in the road could be weather, but that's nothing. We just rescheduled it. So it's going to be super exciting. Right down there in Old Town, they can all go eat, have great lunch in Old Town and afterwards, and it'll be a good time.
Yeah, we're real excited about getting the families out there, and that's kind of a court that we've never really programmed before. So this is the first for everybody. I'm really excited on the Parks and Recreation side, because it's such a beautiful asset and such a historic part of town. And getting families down into there, something Parks and Rec has tried to do for years and years through our different programs, whether that's Walking on Main or Thunder Valley Rally or our Old Town Farmers Markets. So this is just another way where we get to bring our families, and mostly those local families, down to Old Town to play a little basketball.
Yep,
so as we start talking about your league, how's it set up? What's the age group there?
The age group is 6 to 14. That's divided into 3 groups. So we have a 14U, 11U, and an 8U. And then so all the teams are divided. We have 4 teams in each group right now. So, and we kind of cut registration off because we didn't want to bite off more than we can chew for the first time. And we're ready to roll.
So how many kids did you guys end up getting registered?
We stopped it at 120 kids.
That's a nice league.
Yeah, it's a nice start.
Are we talking 10-player teams?
Yep, 10-player teams. Yep, maxed out.
That's nice.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
Awesome. So we know that it's going to be in Old Town, but when will those games take place?
They're going to be on Saturdays, starting this Saturday and through April 10th.
Got it. And I know that there's a lot of rules we got to follow for COVID and things like that. And I know you guys have submitted your COVID protocols to the Parks and Recreation Department that we have to post on our website and get to the Arizona State Department of Health. But what are some of the precautions you guys are taking to make sure that this is a fun, safe league?
Yeah, so this COVID protocol thing has become quite the norm with every event that we do. So, we're getting into a pattern, and we expect to do it and get it done right away. Obviously, masks on spectators is a must. The social distancing, everything that we're doing day to day now is a must. So the limited, or not participants, but the limited crowd, that's another thing. But at least right now, with being outdoors, the city has been gracious to allow parents to come to the games and follow these rules.
Yeah, absolutely. And we certainly believe in a lot of self-government, but making sure that we have those dedicated personnel down there helping enforce these rules is great. And I can't thank you and your team enough for putting those protocols in place and giving us a good idea of what this program is going to look like on a day-to-day basis. How long do your typical games last for basketball? You doing 45-minute games?
Yeah, they're 2 20-minute halves, so 40 minutes plus a 5-minute halftime.
And are we doing running clock?
We are doing running clock, for the littlest guys and girls, and then the other ones are 18-minute has with a 1-minute stop clock. So,
oh, that's nice.
yeah.
That'll be real fun. So basketball's not your only thing you do. I love basketball, and I love that we're doing it here in Cottonwood. But what are some of the other things Showtime Sportz does?
Yeah, so flag football, like I mentioned before, is our flagship. I mean, that is what's near and dear to my heart. I've been playing that game for over 20 years now, and we used to travel all the time. I got my team, Mad Cats, and to see and provide a platform for hundreds of adults and youth to come play this great game, and all the things that come with the game, the friendships, the traveling, and everything, that's an accomplishment to me. I love it. I love giving that back and providing that.
Got it. So do you guys got anything coming up with flag football? What's that looking like?
So yeah, so flag football, we just finished a tournament in Lake Havasu. That was our first time there. That was fantastic. And then we have a youth league in Prescott Valley coming up, and that starts in May. And then another tournament in June down in Phoenix.
Nice. So if me and my 12-year-old son wanted to get into flag football coming up in May, what's that process look like? We talking registration fees? Do I got to enroll online?
Yeah, you can register online at showtimesportz.com for your son. And then if you want to play, you're going to have to wait till the fall. And we have an adult league as well in Prescott over there. So, but we got something for everybody, just not at the same time. We do like to host an event where it's a father-son tournament, and dad gets to play QB. And play with the kids. It's a lot of fun. Probably my favorite event that we do.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. So as we wrap up our segment here in Showtime Sportz, Bruce, I know your mission is to get people out there active, not just youth and adults, but what are the benefits of Showtime Sportz in the community? What can parents and kids gain from enrolling in some of your guys' programs and sports activities? Well,
I think sports in general are just a constructive thing for everybody. You know, to get involved and to be active in anything, whether it's sports, or whether it's going to the grocery store shopping together, you know, just doing it together and being involved and getting out and doing something. Another thing too is, you know, we bring in some sponsors and whatnot. You know, we have multiple sponsors for every event, and that just furthers the community involvement and gets everybody involved and everybody working together to try to keep business healthy as well.
Absolutely. And Bruce, as long as I've known you, we go back to probably 2011, 2012, when I was doing youth basketball here, and you're one of the coaches. You've always been somebody who I've known to give back to the community, and we certainly appreciate your efforts there. As we close out this segment, you have a really cool opportunity for a football sports camp where you can meet NFL players.
Yeah.
Talk to us briefly on that.
Yeah, so I have my youngest brother played for the Washington Huskies. He's got a lot of friends in the NFL and college realm, and so we are putting together a camp on March 27th down in the Phoenix area. You can register online at showtimesportz.com for that as well. And so we're excited for that. That's a really unique event, and it's something new to Showtime Sportz as well.
Really excited. If you had some Chargers players there, I might try to pass as a youngster and go over there.
Just have to shave a little bit.
Exactly.
You know?
Just have to shave a little bit. Maybe put some contacts in. But
sure.
All in all, I think it's going to be a really great opportunity for the kids, and not just local kids, but region-wide kids. So if you're interested in doing something, make sure you reach out to Bruce here at showtimesportz.com. You really are a great person to work with on all accounts. So if anybody needs anything, reach out, and I'm sure you'll be able to help them, point them in the right direction.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Jack.
My pleasure. Bruce, it's been a pleasure. Hang in there with us as we come back here for the next segment of Inside Cottonwood, and we'll be talking with Jayne Lee from Verde Valley Little League. So make sure you tune in. We'll see you back here in just a moment.
This is Bruce Morrow, Transportation Manager for Cottonwood Area Transit. Remember, we cover the entire Verde Valley and Sedona. Cottonwood Area Transit has you covered wherever you want to ride in the Verde Valley, all day, every day. Take Cottonwood Area Transit through Clarkdale, Verde Village, and from 26 locations in Cottonwood. With Verde Links, it's a quick and easy trip to Sedona every day. Don't forget our connectors to Camp Verde. Visit cottonwoodaz.gov for Cottonwood Area Transit and take a seat. Let's go ride.
There are people who struggle with addiction and homelessness. Sometimes it may feel like there is nothing we can do to help.
But there is. You can make a tax-deductible donation and help those in need transition away from homelessness.
When you give someone a handout, you could actually be supporting an addiction.
A better life starts with better health, especially for those living in the streets.
Support solutions, not addictions. You can make a difference. Visit cottonwoodcares.org.
Hello again. Welcome back to today's segment of Inside Cottonwood. I'm your host, Jak Teel, the Parks and Recreation Manager here with the City of Cottonwood. And in this second segment, we're going to be talking with Jayne Lee, the president of our local Verde Valley Little League Association. We've got Little League coming up here shortly, getting some practices in and going to start games relatively soon. So, Jayne, I'd like to welcome you to the show.
Well, thanks, Jak. I'm happy I can be here and share some information with the community about our league.
Absolutely, and Little League is one of the bigger programs, especially sports programs, we have going on. So as we start talking about Little League, first, what is Little League and what's your role within Little League?
Okay, so Little League is a place where players from the ages of 4 to 14 can learn how to play baseball, be on a team, get to meet new people. There's opportunities also for tournament ball and to move on and play other teams in the state. And if you do really well there, of course, you can go on to a regional tournament and to a World Series. So not only is it a local activity for our children, there are chances for them to go on and move forward. And it starts with T-ball. And this year and it moves through, we have what's called machine pitch and coach pitch. Then we have a minors division, a majors division, and in our softball side, we have junior softball. And on our baseball side this year, we're introducing a new division called 50-70. That's going to be an intermediate division. So the boys will jump from a 60-foot field to a 70-foot field, but they're going to be playing real baseball. And they're going to be able to lead off, and it's going to be pretty exciting. So we're really looking forward to that jump this year.
That does sound exciting. And when we talk about 50-70, are we talking 50-foot pitcher's mounds and 70-foot baselines?
We are. That's correct, Jak. So in regular Little League, from minors to majors, they pitch from 46 feet, and they have a 60-foot base path. So 50-70 will be a 50-foot pitching mound and a 70-foot base path. And then when they go to juniors, it's actually a 66.7 inch 66 feet, 7-inch mound and a 90-foot base path, which is what the MLB play on. So
Okay.
That's a really big jump. And when you're only 13 years old, that's a lot to run. So we're really looking forward to this intermediate division. Now, softball on the other side, they have a 60-foot base path no matter what age you're playing. So that does not change. Just the distance of the pitching mound changes.
Yeah, and for a lot of people who have followed Verde Valley Little League for years, the baseball concept of it is a newer thing. We just started this last year, right? With our Field 3 at the adult complex?
Yes, with the older kids.
Yeah.
Well, we've had a junior team in the past. It's hard to field because a lot of kids are going to high school and they want to play high school ball. So it's hard to field. So this is going to be our first. So we were able to have a junior field over at the adult fields a couple years ago. So thank you guys very much for that. We've had to use school fields or a high school, but with the times changing now, it's really hard to get those fields sometimes. So we're really looking forward to having this intermediate division because we think we'll give those boys a jump start when they get to high school, make our high school team that much stronger.
That's
and
awesome.
Actually have more boys play because the age for that is 11 to 13. So you can either play in majors or you can play in intermediate ball. So you're not just stuck to one division now. So there are some choices.
That's really awesome. I know you guys in your role as the board have done a really good job of moving Little League forward and making sure that everybody who wants to play has an option to play. And as we start approaching that season, is registration still open for people?
It is. So registration will be open until March 6th. We are online. We do have that link on our Facebook page. And also there is a link there for an email address for me, which is actually jane@vvl.org. And so if you have any questions, please feel free to email me. I usually can get back to you within a couple hours with an answer one way or another. Of course, I have that other job thing going on.
Yeah.
But registration will be open till March 6th. This year we weren't able to do in-person registration. It's a little bit different than in the past, so I'm really depending on word of mouth, the Facebook page, sending out emails. But we will be at the fields this Saturday, February 27th, and next Saturday, March 6th, for evaluations. And that's for players who are 9 years old or older. So if you're younger than 9, you do not have to come to evaluations. So that would be T-ball players and coach pitch players. And I will be there. So if you aren't registered, that would be also a time for you to get registered too. And the fee is $55 per player. We used to do a discount, but this year we're not, because we're not running a snack bar this year with everything that's going on. So
Yeah.
we're going to ask you to hang in there with us and go ahead and make that little $10 extra donation if you have a couple of kids playing, which you would probably have spent more than that at the snack bar in the long run anyways.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Absolutely.
because we're very lucky. We do get our uniforms from Arizona Diamondbacks, and they're going to continue this year to support all the leagues in Arizona. But there are a lot of other costs that we have besides insurance and maintenance of the city is great with helping us, but we do buy our own chalk and items there too. And of course, baseballs are not cheap.
Nope. Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. So when we start talking about the season, I know you guys got your evaluations this weekend. Then we do a draft. When can kids expect to be drafted onto a team, start practices, and then when do games start and when do they end?
Okay, so we're going to do a draft the week of March 8th to March 10th, because we have several divisions, so it does take several days to get through it. So players should be notified by their coaches by March 14th. Practice will be able to begin the week of March 15th. So they'll have about 3 weeks to be able to practice, and we're going to start games the week of April 5th. So I'm a little sad this year. This is the 50th year that Verde Valley Little League has been a Little League. So what a year to have a great celebration, but we sort of can't do that right now. Like last year, we're going to start without an opening day, and we're just going to start playing. And so throughout the season, I'm hoping that we can have some small celebrations with different divisions, because I think that's a milestone to be 50 years as a chartered Little League for our valley. So I'm very proud of our valley. Yes.
I know I've worked with you here over the last couple of years in a professional capacity, but your and I's relationship goes way back to when I was young enough to play in Little League. And I know you've been a staple in the community, and we cannot thank you enough for your work and your dedication towards Little League. You've been an umpire. You've done the National World Series. You've done all these things. And to have you here in Cottonwood and support this community in this fashion, we couldn't be luckier. And our community really owes a lot to you and your role and your board's role for Little League and moving it forward. And Jayne, here in the last minute as we go to wrap up, is there anything else you'd like to mention about the league? A thank you to your sponsors or anything you've got going on?
Well, yes. Well, first of all, a big shout out to D&O Crane, because they helped us move some things at the field recently to actually make our area a lot better for our whole community. So I really want to do a shout out to them. And actually to everyone. I mean, there's so many people. It's not just me. This takes a community. But I want to thank everyone that has always been very supportive and of the league and step forward and volunteer. I mean, this year it's great. I have people volunteering left and right. So coaches, parents, our community, thank you, because we couldn't do it without you.
Absolutely. And Jayne, we want to thank you for coming on this episode of Inside Cottonwood. If you want to reach out to Verde Valley Little League, they have a Facebook page, Verde Valley Little League. They've got a link to reach Jayne right there through email. So make sure you're getting out there, registering, getting your kids involved in youth sports. We all know the benefits of that. So as we take our second break here, we're going to move forward here, and we're going to bring Josh Frewin on to talk about some of the city programs we have going on. So thank you for tuning in, and stay with me. We'll see you back here for the third segment in a couple minutes.
This is Bruce Jurecki, Transportation Manager for Cottonwood Area Transit. Remember, we cover the entire Verde Valley and Sedona. Cottonwood Area Transit has you covered wherever you want to ride in the Verde Valley, all day, every day. Take Cottonwood Area Transit through Clarkdale, Verde Village, and from 26 locations in Cottonwood. With Verde Links, it's a quick and easy trip to Sedona every day. Don't forget our connectors to Camp Verde. Visit cottonwoodaz.gov for Cottonwood Area Transit and take a seat. Let's go ride.
There are people who struggle with addiction and homelessness. Sometimes it may feel like there is nothing we can do to help.
But there is. You can make a tax-deductible donation and help those in need transition away from homelessness.
When you give someone a handout, you could actually be supporting an addiction.
A better life starts with better health, especially for those living in the streets.
Support solutions, not addictions. You can make a difference. Visit cottonwoodcares.org.
Good afternoon, Cottonwood, and welcome back to this segment of Inside Cottonwood. We're in our last little stint here, and I have Josh Frewin, one of my favorite people, here with me from Cottonwood Parks and Recreation. Josh wears many hats, but I think your title right now is Aquatics and Special Events.
Something like that.
Anybody who's stayed along with Cottonwood Parks and Recreation knows you do much more than that. You're our chairperson on the Bicycle Advisory Committee, for example, the BAC we have here in town, and that group's always constantly getting together doing things. What's something we've got going on with the Bicycle Advisory Commission currently that you wanted to talk about?
Definitely. So our Bicycle Advisory Committee is a great group. It's staff from the city, staff from the county, and then some other just local riders in the area, and then Randy, who owns the Verde Valley Bike Shop here in town and things like that. So we have a lot of different things going on. A lot of times, kind of during a normal year, we do bike rodeos at the school, helmet giveaways, some bike to work week, kind of things like that. Some of that's changing a little bit this year, but some of the projects that we do have going on, we're getting together a bike map that's going out for the city that'll list all the trails, roads, everything like that for different routes if you're out on your bike that you can do, labeling it by kind of little difficulties and which roads have bike lanes, sidewalks, things like that. That'll be great.
And I know you guys have done a lot of work with that one, and we're going as far as to try and get this on a GIS mapping tool thing. Definitely. Talk us through that a little bit.
Yeah, so that's been a great project. Gary Davis and Gregory Emanuel have done a lot of work with that as well. So we have our printed map that'll fold down to a nice little size you can carry. That'll be out here soon. And then they're putting it together on a GIS fancy map that you'll be able to get on cottonwoodaz.gov and then probably out on our Facebook page and a few things like that. So you can just pull out your phone and find some trails right from there too.
Yeah, and I know we're hesitant to put a timeline on that because the GIS portion of it gets really difficult sometimes and definitely above my skill level. So we certainly go out and require a lot of extra help from Gregory specifically. But we've been working on that for a while now. Are we expecting that to come out anytime soon? Do we have any kind of idea on that? 6 months, a year?
The printed map hopefully will be here within a month, 2 months, something like that pretty soon that we'll have out. You can pick it up from hotels, Chamber of Commerce, Rec Center, things like that. And then the online map, don't know the time frame, but hopefully here soon as we can.
I know Gregory Emanuel is a leading professional in that field, so I know when it's done, it's going to be awesome.
Oh, definitely.
But it's time consuming, and I wouldn't even begin to know where to start about the complexity of that software. So the BAC, I know we've done a lot of things in the past. Last year we worked on updating some of our bike frames and getting a bike accessory toolkit. We just got that in, so we're going to be putting that into the Recreation Center here shortly, as well as installing some of our new bike racks. And then the BAC was also directly responsible for helping widen some of our roads and adding bike lanes, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So that was a process of what level are we a bicycle-friendly community now?
So for the past, kind of the previous 8 years, we were a bronze level bicycle-friendly community. We put in some applications with some of the widening of the bike lanes, adding some new bike facilities, things like that, and moved up to the silver level of bicycle-friendly community, which was a big step and get some good recognition for the city of Cottonwood, and hopefully we can just keep moving forward from there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know we're a bicycle-friendly community. We want bicycles here, and we're doing our part, and the BAC certainly is doing their part to make sure that it's a friendly commute, and that trail map is going to be awesome, or the bike map is going to be phenomenal.
Definitely.
And when we start talking about bikes, it's not just the road. We've been doing a lot of stuff on trails, making sure that our trails are friendly, and we also do some other trail work. I know working with Gary Davis and our public works crew, David Hausman, they just installed a really beautiful sign up there at the Cliff Roche Trail, and then some of the other stuff. Talk us through some of that other trail work that's been going
definitely.
on.
So they've been doing a great job with that. That'll add to our bike map. Some of those bike trails, but also can be used as running trails, hiking trails, go take your dog out on those type of trails, things. So they have a lot of new signage going up, especially at the Cliff Rose Trail, and they're working on some trail improvements that'll eventually take the Cliff Rose Trail on a Bill Ensign Trail all the way over to Dead Horse Ranch with some signage and stuff like that. That looks really nice.
And Gary's done a really good job. If you're looking at our screen right now, you can see that we got some new directional signage out there, some wayfinding, and wayfinding is a big component of what our city strategy is right now and in those strategic initiatives. So thank you and Gary Davis and Public Works crew and everybody who goes into working on those trails and getting the Riverfront Trail that we're currently working on. It's going to be a beautiful trail. It's going to help enhance connectivity throughout our parks and the city as a whole. And as we start talking about parks and how do we measure usage in our parks and things like that, I understand we've got a really fun program coming up that we're going to roll out to our community here shortly. Talk us through what that is.
Yeah, so we're rolling out a geocaching program, which is kind of a popular thing through a lot of places in the country and really around the world. So what it is kind of a giant scavenger hunt. So you get a GPS device on your phone, or you can do it on a computer, gives you some coordinates and maybe a little hint, and you got to go find it, whether it's on a trail, in a building, anywhere, and find a little, could be as small as a little magnet, could be a big box, and it'll give kind of a log that you sign. You might get a little prize from it, things like that. So what we're going to do is we'll have a passport that Laura Herrera, who's the graphic designer for the City of Cottonwood, has put together. And it's a passport, so you'll go to each of our locations, collect a sticker when you find the cache, the little scavenger hunt part, place that on the passport, and as you bring it in, we'll have a prize for you and just kind of a little recognition for participating in that program. But should just be a fun thing, and especially during these times, be a great thing to get outdoors and do, and safe way to have some fun.
Absolutely, and there's a big shift in parks and recreation between active sports and passive sports, and one of the things that's really hard for us to measure is those passive sport activities. Disc golf is one of the primary things when people are asking me about passive sports. You don't need anybody else out there to play disc golf. You just grab your disc and you go out there and you try to bang the changs on them. And it's fun. It's really hard to calculate how many people are using those things and getting a good idea of who's using our parks and when they're using our parks. So the geocaching is one of those tools that we're trying to use to gauge activity within our parks, because we can see how many people log those geocaches through the software site, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We can see how many people have done it. So that's just one of the ways that we're trying to understand who's in our parks, where they're at, and also having people experience what our parks have to offer.
Yes.
You sent me on one of the scavenger hunts, one of the geocaches. We had it at the Recreation Center and blew my mind. Been in that building 10 years, never knew there was a geocache right outside the front door. And then finding it, I thought, was really cool too. It's not just finding where it's at, but the process to find the geocache at that specific location is really cool. In our last minute here, Josh, we've got a lot of things going on all the time. We've got our outdoor pool that we're shooting to open up here in April, May area to get back to normal. Do we've got anything else we're working on? Maybe an Easter program, 4th of July programs, things we're doing for our community right now?
Yeah, definitely. So we'll get some of those programs like Easter, 4th of July, those getting those put together with a little adaptations where needed, and look forward to having those great programs that we'll figure out and get out to the public soon, that you can find either on our website, that's the cottonwoodaz.gov, or on our Facebook page. And then our indoor pool is currently still open, that we're doing for lap swimming, family reservations, things like that. So if you're into swimming and want to come out, we'd love to have you over at the rec center.
Absolutely. Josh, I'd like to thank you for your participation today. I know you're always got a lot of things going on in your role with the city and the Parks and Recreation Department. Our team in general is always out there doing something, but if the community ever wants to see something from us, ever wants to talk to us, feel free to drop by, give us a call, send out emails. You can go on our website, Cottonwood Parks and Recreation, through the cottonwoodaz.gov. And there's a Connect with Us tab. You can just click on that and you have access to all of our information, all of our phone numbers, all of our emails, and then there's a leave us a suggestion. So you can always just fill out that form and let us know what we're doing right or what you'd like to see from our department. And as we wrap up today, I'd just like to say thank you to the City of Cottonwood, and thank you for being on today and our other two guests. And I hope everybody continues to tune in. This has been another segment of Inside Cottonwood. I've been your host, Jak Teel, Parks and Recreation Manager. Have a great day, and we'll see you back here in a couple months.